What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the show. Yes. Yes. Okay. We're living in Sodom and Gomorrah 2.0. Now, as I stated in the Christian Ouija board video, I did not think that this was real, but this church has no dress code, bruh. So whenever I actually saw this, I said, bro, this cannot be real. I went and looked, it's real. They turned off the comments. You wonder why, right? You wonder why they actually turned off the comments. Now, this is exactly what I was saying about these false prophets. And if you actually watch that video, you know what I'm saying? Of people be like, do not listen to every pastor out there. Don't listen to every person who claims that they come in a Christian way or they come from God, because it's not true. Right? So this church, if you, man, I really can't believe I'm like making videos about this. But in Matthew chapter 18 verses 7, it says, what sorrow awaits the world because it tempts people to sin. Temptations are inevitable, but what sorrow awaits the person who does the tempting. And the fact that the pastor and the leaders of this church is giving the green light for this to go on and everything, that you got to give them an L for that. You got to give them the L because you know what you're doing. People are trying to do anything they can to try to get people to come into the church and do the most debaucherous, unholy things ever. This completely goes against scripture, period. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Everybody knows whenever women are dressed like this, men are gazed upon and be like, whoa, right? Whenever I saw it, I just shook my head. I said, bro, you got to be kidding me. In the church? In the church, bruh. Now, for men, it's very hard for us to abstain from that sort of, temptation because it's literally right in front of us, because it's typically everywhere now. Essentially, everywhere that you look every single day, depending on where you live, and even if it's not out on the streets, it's on social media, depending on who you're following. The fact that this church is allowing this is despicable. It's reprehensible. It's completely out of whack, and I can only imagine what they're actually preaching in their church. I can only imagine. Because I know that they're not preaching anything sound in doctrine. They're probably saying the most unbiblical things ever. Especially if they say, oh yeah, no dress code, come as you are. That sort of ideal, bruh, is an L, bruh. It's not it. Even if you was saying something in your church that was, good per se, people are still not going to be, well, at least men are not going to be focused on the message that you are actually trying to convey to the audience, because their eyes are glued, or they're just going there solely for the reason of possibly hooking up with these women. I know how people are. The men that come in there, they're not going to go in there to learn about Jesus. Clearly. They're not going to go in there. They're going to go in there because the women are out there with their chesticles out in the shoot. You know what I mean? Like that. I mean, that's. I'm sorry to break it down like that, but that's the exact reason why the men are actually going there. They're not there to learn about Jesus. They're not going there to learn how to be righteous. They're not going there for any other reason except for to look at the women. And I know the women are definitely not in there to learn how to be a modest woman the way that God actually wants the women to be. They're not going in there. They're going in there for attention, and the exact same reason why the men are going in there. They're going in there so they can, attract whatever man that they actually want, so they can actually hook up with them later on, either that night or later on throughout the week, or potentially in the near future. Because they're definitely, no one in that church is going there to learn about Christ truly. No one is going in there for that at all. And there's nothing that you can do to convince me otherwise. But I know that these modern churches are getting very desperate because they're losing people. They're losing people because they're pushing foolishness like this. They're not pushing the true gospel out there. And that's why people are just leaving. That's why, me personally, all I do, I look at my sermons like online, and I read my Bible. I don't go to church anymore. I'm not saying that I will not ever go to church ever again, but in my area, no, I don't at all, because I really do not trust people. And this doesn't go for every single church out there. I'm sorry if I offended you, if from what I just said, but I'm very, very cautious of which church that I actually go to, because I need to know exactly what you're doing. I want to know the ins and outs of everything before I step foot into your church. Because just like that false teacher, swindled me and he deceived me whenever I was a youngin', I'm not gonna have you swindle me and the other people in there, bruh. That's never gonna happen. Ever gonna happen. But then again, I don't really trust people like that anyways, because of the past. That's neither here nor there. That's not what this video is about. The video is about this church that is allowing women to go in there with their breasts just hanging all out. Like, where's your morals at? Where's your ethics at? You're doing literally exactly what the people did in the Old Testament, leading people down into the slaughter, filling up your pockets, but not caring about people's salvation. So I really just had to report on that, bro.